Welcome to Vision Forward's Tech Connect Live, connecting you to the world of assistive technology. And now, here are your hosts, Cory and Luke.
Hello, everybody. Cory, did you get the microphones properly?
I don't know.
Okay, I think you did.
Yeah, I think I did.
I hope everybody is doing well today. I am back in the studio after last week's shenanigans, where I was at home. Cory, what did we do the show about?
You had an issue with your vehicle.
I remember what the problem was. Yeah, what was the show about?
That was with Joe.
Oh, that's right, with Joe.
By looking at Accessibyte Studio.
Yes, so that was very fun to do that from home, but I have to say you don't get the same magic as you do when you're live in the studio.
That is very true.
Yeah, it's a whole different vibe. It's like a very cold, very air-conditioned kind of vibe.
It's actually quite chilly in here today. I'm usually the one who's always hot, but it is a bit chilly. Although it's only like, it was only high 60s when I came in today. So,
I know, yeah.
I mean, not that I'm complaining about that.
No, it's cooling off a little. I hope everybody is doing well weather-wise. It's been very hot and humid here for the last few days, but today it has finally cooled down. We had a nice rainy day yesterday, Cory.
It was pretty rainy.
Rained all day. And for those baseball fans out there, the Cubs and the Brewers were matching off at...
I love how you pretend that you're...
What's the name of the stadium in
now
Milwaukee?
called American Family Stadium or Field. It used to be Miller Park.
Okay, the
now
old
it's
Miller
been
Park.
changed to American Family Field.
Now, I got caught in the traffic from the game twice yesterday.
Yeah.
I first of all got caught when I was coming up from a client around 11:30. I got caught with the traffic that was going to the game.
Yeah, they were just, yeah.
Yeah, so there was a lot of traffic. It took me a very long time to get back from my client. And I thought, surely that's the end of my traffic woes for today. But no, of course, as I was leaving work, everybody was leaving the game. I don't understand, how can any sport last such a long time?
Well, and I think a normal game is like 2.5 to 3-ish hours. 3.5, yeah, give or take. It's nine innings of baseball.
Although I guess in baseball, for the most part, the athletes are mostly just standing around.
Yeah, it's not like basketball or football where there's constant.
Wait, I feel like in football, most people are standing around all the time as well.
Yeah, but plays happen quickly, and in each play or down, everybody is moving and running.
Yeah, no,
where in baseball, depending on where they hit the ball, a bunch of people could just be standing around doing nothing.
Can we confirm the theory that baseball was created for the sole purpose of giving people an excuse to drink alcohol? Can
I
we
think that's
confirm
true
or
about
deny
all
this?
sports.
Oh, okay.
and a lot of other things in general.
Can we confirm that the entirety of human existence is finding
It's just based
excuses
on-
to stand around
Sure.
drinking alcohol?
That's where plays were done back in the
That's
ancient Greek.
okay. Good to hear.
Alicia has made her.
Oh, hold on. All right, go for it.
Always reliable. Alicia Green, first in
Yes.
the chat.
First in
Thank
the
you. We
chat.
were a little nervous.
Alicia, we didn't see you immediately, and we
nervous.
started to get a bit worried up
Little
here.
bit.
So glad to hear that you have joined us. Alicia, as usual, says hello from Rockford, Illinois. Looking forward to another episode. Luke, Cory, and of course, Jonathan, in no order of preference.
Yes. Or all order of preference.
Or in an order of preference.
Yeah, either one.
Anyway, so yes, the
But
point.
there's a fourth name that should be added to that.
Yes. So the show today, we have a guest yet again. I'm liking this whole guest format, Cory. I think it's a good one for us. And joining us today for the second time, that's right, count them, 1, 2, we have Amos Miller from Glidance. Hello, Amos, and how are you today?
I am wonderful. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you for having me.
That is great to hear.
Excited to be here. Yeah.
Yeah.
From
appreciate
Seattle,
it.
sunny Seattle. Today.
Yes, all the way from sunny Seattle. It looks
that
nice there.
Seems a little contradicting statement there. Sunny Seattle. I don't.
Oh, you thought it was raining all
well,
the time?
I don't know if Seattle's known for being sunny Seattle, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't live there, so.
We keep the brand aware of a rainy Seattle just to keep people away.
It's not a bad.
Keep
it's
out
not
the
a bad-
tourists.
Yeah,
I like it.
Not a bad.
Well, you know, Amos, being from England, I'm very used to the rainy weather, so I think I would fit right in with the stereotypical Seattle weather there.
I'd say the Seattle weather is a little bit more predictable than the Like in the UK, you can organize a barbecue and get up in the morning and see that it's a beautiful sunny day, and by 10 minutes later,
exactly. It's part of the
your
charm.
barbecue away. So
Amos, did you used to live in England at some point?
I did.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
lived in England 98 through 2013. So quite
Oh, a
years.
long old time there. All right. Whereabouts in England were you living then, Amos?
Different bits of London.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Very good. Yes, because you are. I might have got this completely wrong, but are you on the board for like whatever the Guide Dog Foundation in England is, or something like that?
I was.
You were? Okay.
When I was living there.
Yes,
I was,
okay.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
was on the Guide Dogs for the Blind board. Yeah.
Very nice. Quick question before we get started here. Since we were talking about baseball, are you a baseball fan?
Ooh.
It's okay to say no.
I don't confuse what game it is, but I sometimes am not sure which stadium is baseball and which stadium is football.
Okay.
And
Gotcha.
Hopefully that gives you an indication on
Yeah, I mean,
how close I am.
I don't even know the names of any stadiums or any teams except for the Cubs,
Okay.
the Sox,
Which ones? There's
the
two
White
different
Sox.
ones.
Oh, the Red Sox I know as well.
Yeah,
But I don't
yeah.
know are they out of New York or are they?
You know, we
Boston.
have the
Boston.
Seattle Mariners. That's
And
it.
the Mariners, okay. And
The
then
Brewers just
I know
played
the
the
Brewers.
Mariners.
Oh, really?
They just played. They were just in Seattle.
Oh.
Their
There we go.
their series before the Cubs.
And you know that Amos was in the stands.
Yes, exactly.
In the distance.
All right, well, we are here today to talk about the latest updates to Glide, and we have, as I said before, we have had you on previously to talk about Glide, and Cory informs me that that was 2 years ago.
Well, I don't recall. Yeah, it would have been after
2 years
CSUN
ago
2.
would
So
have been
yeah.
a long time ago. I
Yes.
don't think it would have been 2 years ago.
Okay, so maybe-
unless it was right at the outset.
Well, it was after seeing it at CSUN,
CSUN
not
23.
the most recent CSUN. Yeah, 2023.
That would have been last. That would have been last year because the year before, I was at CSUN, but I didn't have a stand or device.
Ah, okay.
So
So
I
it would have
was
been
just talking to
24, actually, wouldn't it? Because it's
Yeah.
25
Oh, yeah.
now, so that makes
Yes,
sense.
sorry. Yes, that would have been
So it's a year
24.
ago.
Because you
So a
did
year
have a
ago,
booth.
yes.
Yeah, we did a demo there. I don't remember who I worked with. I know that,
This time it was Luke.
Yes.
This year.
Yeah.
I do remember that, yes.
Yeah.
but I don't recall in 24.
No.
Not that
But anyway, I mean, a year ago, is actually a long time when it comes to a developing product. And Glide is still a product which is in a development and refining its software and also refining the hardware as well. So I think we have a lot of new things that we can talk about. But before we do that, why don't you give us a bit of an overview for those who aren't aware of exactly what the Glide is and how it came about?
Of course. So, yeah, first of all, I'm the CEO and founder of Glidance, for those who haven't met me before. My background is computer science and engineering. I spent my entire life building stuff from a very young age. I spent the best part of my career at Microsoft, and in various roles. In the latter part of Microsoft, I was at Microsoft Research, where I actually led the work on Microsoft Soundscape, which some of your listeners might be familiar with. So that's really what brought me to the really starting to develop, look at independent mobility for the blind, as from a how can we bring technological advancements to help with that. And I'm blind myself. It's probably worth adding. I have retinitis pigmentosa. I lost my sight in my early 20s. So like many of us here, we always play with technology and look at what we can get from that. And I had the fortune of trying to build some solutions. Soundscape was one. And from there, I really started to explore the question of why do we still have so many people who are blind who aren't able to get out and about independently, even with the availability of the white cane or the guide dog, and why these technologies are only really giving us some additional information and additional independence, but I'm not sure that they're getting more people out and about. And that's really led me down that exploration path of what would a new kind of primary mobility aid have to be in order to enable, somebody who loses their sight maybe later in life. And, most blind people lose their sight mid to later in life, if you look just at the statistics. And so the learning curve of getting your mobility back is a pretty steep learning curve. So how do we make that easier for people? And the conclusion the hypothesis I reached was that what we need is something that is physically connected to the ground and physically guides. I tried all kinds of wearables, audio, haptics, and so on. And that was really the origin of what a Glide has become. So Glide is designed to be a primary mobility aid. It's an autonomous mobility aid. So the way that it works, it has two wheels on the ground, a long handle. You hold the handle, you nudge the device forward, and as you begin to walk, the wheels autonomously begin to steer. They steer a little to the left, a little to the right, getting you around an obstacle if there's an obstacle in the way, looking ahead and keeping you on the path, maintaining the line. And we can talk about that because that's actually a lot of work that we've done in the last few months. Taking turns. So it really functions as a primary mobility aid that is super, super easy to use. And once we have that capability as a primary mobility aid, we can then plug Glide into other information like maps, like AI for route, for making sense of an environment, like walking into a hotel and seeing where the reception desk is. But the benefit here is that Glide actually would physically guide you towards that target rather than just informing you where it is.
I think it's important to note as well that Glide doesn't kind of pull you along at all. It's completely, the movement is completely dictated by you, and it's just kind of like guiding you as you walk, right?
Yeah, so exactly. The wheels are freewheeling, and the benefit of that is you really feel that you're in control. You're never being pulled around.
Yeah.
You're never sort of, oh, it's going too fast for me. I need to find the button to slow it down.
Right.
Like you're basically walking at your own speed, and it's your movement that's that's telling the device what you're doing, but the steering is autonomous.
Yes,
It will steer around obstacles. Like I said, it'll keep you on the path, keep you on the, but it also has brakes. So for example, if you arrive at the dropped curb to cross the road, it'll put the brakes on. Or if you arrive at the door, or even if like you're walking along and suddenly something happens and the path is blocked, it will put the brakes on.
Yeah, I mean, Cory does sighted guide training with people here at Vision Forward when necessary. And I think you would definitely disapprove of somebody grabbing you and pulling you, pulling you along. Yeah. So it's kind of like the same concept here. You don't want to be pulled; you just want to be guided.
You're in control. And I think it adds a level of control. I mean, as both a cane user and a previous dog guide user, there are definite pros and cons to both mobility methods, and it feels like Glide is almost sort of like comes right up the middle of the two, where for somebody who may not, somebody may not feel as comfortable traveling with just a white cane and really relying on their cane and themselves to keep that straight line and to get around any objects. You might swing to a dog guide where now the dog guide is helping you guide around some of these things. But there are plenty of people who don't want a dog guide for whatever reason. Either they're not an animal person, or someone like myself, as much as I loved using a dog guide, there were plenty of times when a dog guide just didn't fit my life. You know, when you get to where you're going, there's something very nice about just folding your white cane and setting it.
You can't fold your dog up and put it in a holster.
Exactly. So there's something with Glide that really interests me, that it in many ways seems like it's kind of marrying both together, and compromise isn't the right word. I don't mean it like that, but
it's got the best of both worlds.
Yeah, exactly.
Trying because Glide also has the physicality to it, right? It does. You do feel the terrain. It's a tool. Like one of the things you can't do with a dog guide is push it around. Right, you have to hang back and let the dog do its job. That's what you get trained to do, right? Well, guess what? With the Glide, if you want to turn left, you turn it to the left. Like it's a tool, right? Yeah. Now it will react to that turn, and if there's a wall there, it won't let you go. It will put the brakes, or it will guide you around that column or that person. Yeah, but you really do have more of that maneuverability that you get with a cane. I would also want to add, again, just from a broader, and just to acknowledge maybe to some of the people listening, that there are very, very long waiting lists for dog guides. And we all know that even qualifying for a dog, you have to have very high degree of mobility already, right? You need to be walking X number of miles a day and doing certain number of blocks and be able to do all kinds of things, which excludes people from having access to a dog guide for a variety of reasons. Partly it's just availability; they're limited.
Yeah.
On top of the time investment that's needed for you to go and get appropriately trained.
Well, I think dog guides are amazing. It's just that unfortunately for the great majority of blind people, they're just not accessible.
Yeah. Amos, let's talk about the physical kind of design of the Glide. So Cory and I have related it before to those toys that you have as kids that you push and the balls pop. Or am I imagining this going? We have had this conversation, but So
I forget what that thing's called. But
Fisher-Price Popper.
There you go. Popper. Okay, so there are some similarities. So the design that we saw in 2024 was different to the design that we saw in 2025 at CSUN. It's been refined, including like this big magenta bumper and things like that. Did you want to talk a little bit about kind of what it looks like and what buttons and speakers and mics?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it looks amazing, and I'll just tell you that because people who see Glide, and we do have like a design appearance model that actually illustrates how it will look when it's all buttoned up and ready to go, and it does look amazing. Like it's my co-founder Kyle is an industrial designer, and for me it's always been really an important factor that we want people to feel great walking with this device.
I agree.
Right?
It is a very nice looking thing.
And the look is important, right?
Yeah.
Now, I think people always look for parallels as to what it looks like, and it's I think the version you saw at CSUN, the most regular analogy we got was a vacuum cleaner. I can tell you that the new design does not look like a vacuum cleaner. Okay, the original one was very much an encased body with wheels that were sort of almost inside the body of the device, and that would in some ways made it a bit look like a vacuum cleaner. We moved to a design that does a few things. So first of all, the way it looks is that it has that long handle. The body at the bottom is, imagine a cylinder, okay, where the bottom part of the cylinder rotates. All right, and the wheels are connected to the bottom part. The wheels are large, as in they are 7.5 inches in diameter. These are not small wheels. They are actually in diameter a little beyond the size of the cylinder, so that as you roll the device around, the cylinder never bumps into anything. It's the wheels that are always in contact with things. Yeah. And the important thing about these bigger wheels, they're all-terrain wheels. They look like an F-150 truck wheels. They're basically designed for outdoors, right? You walk along in pavement, sidewalks with cracks and roots growing through the ground, and gravel path, and you want to be able to roll glide everywhere you're going without having the whole thing vibrating and jumping around, and so it's in many ways a bit more like a scooter feeling than a Fisher-Price popper.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's also got actually the design that you guys saw at CSUN is the sort of intermediate iteration where it looks like what I just described. But we since did an iteration on the structural design of the device, where we basically now have metal all the way from the wheels to the handle. And that with a strong chassis design in the device, and that was really designed for durability and reliability.
Okay, that makes sense.
These mobility aids, as we all know, get beaten up, right?
Yeah, if you're using them right, they are.
If you're using them right, they get people can trip over them, they can fall, they can get stuck under a parking car, like all kinds of things that we all are very familiar with. And so it's very important that the Glide can withstand the realities of a blind person whacking around a device out and around. And so it has that long handle. In the handle itself, there are speakers and microphones so that you can speak to the device can speak to you, so there's voice interaction. The nice haptics on the left and on the right, that the device can communicate with you. There's buttons in the device, in the handle, that you can control and steer the device. So it's a very ergonomic device. You did mention the bumper at the front. It's a magenta-looking colored bumper that it functions both as a bumper in case so that it has some feeling in front of it, but it's also a handle that you can easily pick up the device if you need to get it up onto an overhead compartment in a plane or on a bus, or just pick it up for some reason. And it's also the kickstand, so you can allow the device to rest on the bumper, and it stands vertically.
It's a really neat design. It looks fantastic, and it's obviously really well thought out. The handle is telescopic, right? So you can kind of fold that down if necessary. Yeah.
And we actually now have 2 joints, which means that it can fold quite down to 2 feet.
Oh wow! Okay.
Which is much shorter than it was before when it's folded up, and it can extend for a very tall person as well. So,
right, and you can pick it up by that handle, and you can also pick it up by the kickstand, as you had said. So really versatile.
And you can also pick it up on the stem. Like sometimes it's easy to just grab it by the stem if you want to pick it up for any reason.
Yeah.
I'm curious, Amos, in your testing of it and being out, how people typically, the public, it's clear when someone's using a dog guide, there's a recognition that this person is blind or visually impaired, or a standard white cane, white and red. This is obviously a new mobility device. What's been your experience with people? Is there some understanding that this is a mobility tool? Is there a lot of education you've had to do?
You know what, Cory, this is a great question, and it's one of the questions that I often ask people. I'd love to hear your thoughts on, because some of it is also what do we do to educate and broaden awareness, because it's important. It's not the end of the world if you're walking along the sidewalk and somebody doesn't know exactly what it is.
Yeah,
absolutely. As long as they get out of the way.
Yeah, right? That's the main thing, yeah.
But if you're crossing the road, it might be helpful that the driver knows that you're blind, right?
Yeah.
Like otherwise they're making assumptions that you can see them, and these might be poor assumptions. And so there is quite a bit of nuance, and it's important awareness. One thing that we have done is added an LED ring, like a light around the rim of the cylinder, that can actually create movement as well and color, so that we can control the level of visibility. Like you can make the device super visible, like flashing lights going around in circles. Like when you're crossing a road, no driver will ever miss you, even if don't know exactly what's going on. They're seeing that there's something going on.
They're at least aware of you.
Yeah.
They're at least aware. Obviously, my hope that as we start to see glides out in the world, their awareness will grow, and obviously we'll work with organizations to grow awareness. But honestly, the general response has either been ignoring, like people are just they do get out of the way because they see that the device is doing something. They don't want to be in the way of that. So they do get out of the way. Some people understand what it is, and some people actually walk over and take an interest. Say, "Oh my goodness, what is this? And is this what I think it is? Are you?" And
That's cool.
So it's been neutral to positive. We really haven't had like, "Are you crazy?" Apart from one, we had one in New York when we walked into the Lincoln Center, and some guard walked over and says, "Do you have a permit?"
Oh God!
And we get
what?
For what? Well, you can't go around measuring the floor here.
Measuring the floor.
I like it. I have two ideas, Amos. Number one, make the handle red and white, so it's almost as if you have a cane, but it's the handle of the device. Number two, you make a dog outfit that you can put onto the glide.
You can dress your glide up.
So dress your glide up as a dog.
It looks like it's a dog cruising around.
Gina May, who's Mike May's wife, she wants a giraffe outfit.
Oh, there you go.
Wow.
I actually like the idea of being able to add your own little hats
accessories,
to it.
yeah, exactly.
But, I would think the truth is, to me, I love that you are keeping design at top of mind, because I think just because somebody is blind doesn't mean we don't deserve something great looking to use and to add confidence. And the other comment is, I think when dog guides were first used, or the white cane was first used, people didn't know what it was. There was education, and even now, I run into plenty of people with my white cane that they have no idea what the white and red cane is. So it's not like it's ubiquitous.
The level of ignorance is quite. But in many other countries, the awareness of dogs is also extremely low. I mean, I lived in Asia for 3 years with my guide dog. Nobody knows what it is.
Interesting.
So everyone starts, anything new always starts out unknown, and
it just
then
takes time.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there is, as you said, there's a lot there of people understanding, okay, somebody's walking with this, they have it out in front, even if they don't understand, they're going to get out of your way when it's clear that you're not getting out of the way.
Exactly. Somebody's got to get out of the way.
Exactly.
Hey, I'm aware that we're kind of already at the 11:30 mark, and I want to talk about the software updates and features, Amos. But before we do that, though, we have some stuff in the chat here that I just want to pass along. So Eric Hartman says, great information, thank you. I have choroidemia, very similar to RP. He's coming from New Orleans. So thank
cool.
you for joining us. Yeah, very cool. Eric then also goes on with a later comment to say, living here in New Orleans with tropical, it says tropical rains. Rain. Okay, that makes sense. How waterproof is this device if I am encountering puddles on the sidewalks or at the curbs where I have to cross the street? So I'll throw that one to you first there, Amos.
Or just rain.
Yeah. So first of all, the meta answer to this question is we have a very detailed FAQ page on our website, on glidance.io, and I highly recommend folks to go. There's a lot of detailed information around these kind of questions. Glide is designed to be waterproof. So,
okay, perfect.
Rain, puddles, you'll be just fine. There's also the AI elements of Glide of deciding whether you want to walk into that puddle or not, or giving you at least a choice whether you do or not.
Yeah.
But from a waterproofing perspective, it'll be fine.
Sure.
Okay, and Jonathan's going to put Glidance.io into the chat there for the people who want to go check out the website. We also have Shirley with a question. Now, this is actually a Soundscape question. Shirley says that is Soundscape still out of commission? I'm assuming the answer to that is yes, Amos.
There are two variants of Soundscape out and about being developed and supported by the community.
Okay.
One is called Soundscape Community,
Okay.
which is the one that is staying very true to the original design of Soundscape. It's actually led by John L, my co-founder on Soundscape over in Europe. And the other variant is called VoiceVista, which is, I would say, it builds on the Soundscape principles, but it's quite different.
Sure.
They've added a whole bunch of features. It's pretty incredible in terms of the feature set, but it is different in the simplicity, I guess, that Soundscape offered. Yeah.
Where would people go if they wanted to check those out?
Oh, they're on the App Store.
Okay,
it's only on iPhone at the moment. Unfortunately, that still remains the case.
Just a comment here from Alicia Green as well, who says that they saw the Glide on the Today Show a couple of months back. She says, I believe it was Jill Martin who talked about this new technology. Is that correct, Amos?
It is correct.
Cool.
Yes, we were on the Today Show.
That's awesome.
So we were at the Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas in January, and the production team of the Today Show walked past. We literally spent like the most basic package. We had a white table with Glide on it, and a $150 banner behind us. Everybody else spent $40,000 on huge. Yeah. And people, and they just stopped, talked to us and said, my God,
that's cool.
Can we show this? And
that's so cool.
I wonder if having a booth that's not so extravagant actually made people more interested, because they were like, oh, what's this little booth doing here?
Yeah.
And then you go check it out and you're like, wow, that's amazing.
So I wanted to touch base. I wanted to touch on really quick my two experiences with Glide, both in 24 and 25, and then maybe that's a good transition to talk about.
Explain where we are now.
To see. So
we've made a ton of progress even since the CSUN this year.
Sure.
That's what So back in 24, when I had a demo, it was, I believe at that point, it was really just a very kind of proof of concept, and at that point, the person doing the demonstration was actually sort of steering the.
Yes.
And so then fast forward a year later in 2025. At that point, when I did a demo, it was fully autonomous at that point, and so I was
autonomous, but a little erratic.
Sure, yes, I would agree to that. In the fact, I mean, it got me to where I was walking, but was a little erratic and kind of took a little different route here. But it did a good job of steering around people. It did a good job of stopping when someone stepped in front of me or there was a wall.
I mean, it's a difficult environment because it was in a very busy kind of convention room.
Yes. But you could see the progress that a year had, and you could
could walk, right? I mean, the thing is that you could walk.
Exactly, and it was
in
doing
that environment, and it was doing its job.
Exactly, it was doing what you kind of said it would do. And I think the word erratic is probably a decent word, but
erratic and a little crunchy as well. The steering mechanism on that version was pretty noisy, which
but
we've cleaned up since.
it felt very much like there was some definite. I felt very similar to using a dog guide, a bit of where you are controlling it, unlike a dog guide, but there is also a piece of you feeling and reacting to what the machine is doing. So if Glide is turning right, don't fight it, go with it.
Go with it, trust.
And so,
yeah, exactly, that's very important.
Yeah, so if you're a dog guide user, I think that will come a little more natural to you. And I think the same, it'll come natural to anyone. It just takes a little bit of trust in that in the beginning. But I'm curious now, so that was what, March of 2025 is when we last saw it?
Yep.
So I'm curious, Amos, where are we today?
Yeah, so we are marching towards a set of features that together I refer to as freestyle navigation, okay? Freestyle navigation is the moment at which Glide is at par as a primary mobility aid with anything else that you might be using, okay, whether it's a guide dog or a white cane. But in freestyle mode, you are still in charge of the route. So it's not guiding you all the way to Starbucks, not telling you when to turn left and right. You're still in charge of the turns. Yeah, but it's keeping you safe, avoiding obstacles, maintaining a line, and I'll talk about that in a moment, and also detecting line of sight targets that you can choose and be guided towards, whether it's a door, escalators, elevators, things of that nature. That's the feature set that we're working towards for the freestyle, the foundation of the device, the freestyle navigation. And what we've done on that journey so far, and have tested pretty extensively now and with users, is really what I call line maintenance, or what we call in R&M line maintenance. You're heading in a certain direction, like you're walking along a sidewalk. The previous device that you tried, Cory, if it saw an obstacle and it decided it needs to turn to the left, there was nothing that would bring it back to the right to say, oh, you originally walked in that direction, so I'm going to bring you back to the direction that you were going in.
Sure.
Yeah. Now, Glide is very much maintaining a line. So it's going in the direction that you plan to go. It will weave amongst obstacles, but it'll always bring you back so you don't lose orientation. And it also makes it much, much smoother. So that it's no longer reacting to the walls all the time in order to stay within the boundaries. Yeah, it can see those walls and it keeps trying to keep you in the middle. So it's a much, much cleaner and smoother environment. It doesn't sort of disorient you. And then what we've added is that you are now able to initiate the turns, not necessarily by pushing the device in different directions, but we actually move it to the buttons, where you can press left if you want to go left, press right if you want to go right, you press the middle if you want to go in the direction you're going. Let's say you're standing at you walked into a building that you're familiar with, and you know that you want to go at to the 2 o'clock direction towards something. You point Glide there, you click the middle button, and you start walking. And if there's obstacles in the way, it'll zigzag around them and get you in that direction. So that line maintenance with button steering just gives you a ton of control over the experience, and that really, I think, was an experience that was night and day for people who have tried it before. And what we're working on right now is on two additional aspects. One is, like I said earlier, line of sight target detection, where you can actually point Glide at and detect a possible destination, like a door, escalators, elevators, and Glide will guide you there. And we're also doing a lot of work on outdoor scenarios, which are just more challenging because detecting the difference between the path and the grass, right? They're both flat, you could walk on both, but I need to keep you on the path, right? So we're just doing a lot of iterations, and we'll continue to be doing those over the coming months to really strengthen Glide's detection abilities in outdoor wild spaces.
Sure. Yeah, I could see where the outdoors could be a little more difficult. Sidewalk, that's probably a little easier where you've got potentially concrete and then grass on either side. It's a little easier to see a boundary and keep between. But you could also be walking somewhere where there is no sidewalk and it's on the side of the road, and maybe there's a curb, maybe there's not a curb, maybe it's gravel. Yeah. So all those different boundaries and those different, I could see how that could, how do you know what to stay on?
Yeah. Amos, you have some videos on your website which kind of show the concept behind what you want to achieve. And in at least one of those videos, you are walking along a sidewalk and then you get to a crosswalk. And so the Glidance wheels kind of start to have more resistance, and then they stop. So and it's lined you up to kind of go straight across the middle of the crosswalk, and it all looks really cool. But I was wondering, how is it detecting that there is a crosswalk there? Because it's obviously, the sidewalk is concrete, and then you've got the road as well, and they look pretty similar. So how is it doing that detection?
Yeah. Oh, they do look similar. So that's all about the AI training. It's about data collection,
right?
Training the AI, the what we call the segmentation, which basically classifies walkable and not walkable spaces. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Training that to determine that where there's crosswalk markings on the road, that's a walkable space, and the other parts of the road are not walkable spaces. Identifying the dropped curbs and the up curbs.
Right. Yeah.
As we all know, there are no standards in the world on that.
Yeah. So. Well, this is one of the things, actually, because in one of the videos, or at one of the crosswalks, there were very clear markings that were in good condition, and I was thinking to myself, I could see here how the Glide would be able to identify there was a crosswalk here based on these very clear markings. But then another crossing, there were markings, but they were all eroded and peeled away. And I was just thinking to myself, this would be potentially a much harder challenge. So I can imagine there must be a lot of clever stuff going on under the hood to be able to identify and respond to these things.
There's clever stuff, but I think, again, I want to go back to the point that I made earlier about Glide being a tool, right? Mm-hmm. And when we encounter a situation where we just have to use other aspects of the tool in order to solve the problem at hand, whether it's about just giving you additional information, like I don't see a crosswalk here, and there's no up curb on the other side, so I don't know, but here's some information that could be useful for you to resolve this. One of the things that we're also working on is, for example, if it's a route that you do regularly and it's an awkward crossing that you always need, you could train Glide on that particular route, that particular spot, right? Show it where you want to get off the road. Yeah, and that becomes a marked spot where you can where you can reliably cross that road.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
And I think I've got to assume with AI too, and all that learning, there is so much data available to that camera of looking across and seeing the just the natural curve of the street on your right, and if there's.
That's right. I mean, there is. Again, I think that's why I often describe us as being at these sort of this cusp, this turning point of an inevitable future, right? Where I 100% believe that in 4, 5, 6 years' time, we will see many more blind people out and about using Glides, using these kind of devices, much more prevalently than and these devices are going to take advantage of the incredible progress that is happening now with AI and the data and the access. Like, you can ask an AI today to say, hey, take a picture. Which way is the bathroom? Even if you can't see a bathroom, which way could it be, right? Mm-hmm. And the AI will give you a best guess, right? And then you might go that direction. You say, you still think it's in this direction? Sure. Like, you can imagine that these kind of capabilities are integrated in with Glide, and you now have a device that is actually helping you solve problems, right? Helping you figure stuff out.
Yeah, so the user has a responsibility as well as the device.
And
basically.
they always will have, the user always will. I mean,
we don't want to, I often, we don't want this to be a case where you, like an Uber, where you sit in the back of the Uber and ignore the route completely, right?
Yeah.
We want you to be engaged and part of that journey. Right?
Yeah, you need to listen for your parallel traffic. You need to,
Exactly.
you know, because at the end of the day, it is still a tool. And if you, you know, if you are walking and you hear your parallel traffic and you're curving into it, like you need to make a decision. Does Glide make a mistake, or not? I mean, it's the same with a dog guide.
Yeah.
You know, you should never just be a passive. Bystander in your mobility.
On the other hand, Cory, that's I think the beauty of what we are all working on with a device like Glide is, on the other hand, we want to make it easier and simpler.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
You don't need to have 15 years of echolocation capabilities to be able to walk down the street. You should be able to just walk down the street. Now, if you're building echolocation, that's all for the benefit, but it shouldn't be a barrier.
I think, I see Glide as the tool to give people, to tap in to people, give them the confidence they need in order to feel comfortable and go walk around. It could be as simple as walking down to the end of their driveway to get the mail, or it could be as complex as heading to the airport and going and exploring a different city. I think Glide is a tool that can help both sides of the spectrum. And I think, so many times when you hand somebody a cane, even with some great mobility training, there are still plenty of individuals who just lack the comfort and the confidence of going and exploring.
It's like with a cane, they are 100% basically responsible. Whereas if they've got something like the Glide, it's like they have more assistance to make them feel
exactly.
more.
They don't feel that they're alone in this travel, that they have something that's helping them. Yes, they're still making the decisions, and they're still have to play a role in this, but it's not, like you said, it's not 100% on their side. Yeah.
That's why it needs a giraffe outfit, you see, just to really hammer home the fact that this is a little friend.
I like it.
From the chat here, we're out of time, unfortunately, but from the chat, just real quick, we have a couple of questions here, Amos. So Work Readiness says, can Glide do things like trail? For example, if you need to take the third sidewalk on your right or enter the second door on your left?
It's a great question. So it does trail. So, for example, if you're walking along the wall, like a corridor, and you know that there is a left coming up, you can click the left button and it won't turn until that left comes up, and then it will take the turn, right? So that's kind of shorelining. Yeah. And that's a lot on how you actually steer the device. You don't need to steer it at the turn. You steer it before the turn. Now what you could do is, if you know that it's the second door and you need to find that second door, you could just click left, and when it starts to turn, you say, no, not that one, and then go to the next one. Right? Sure. So you can actually feel, and that again goes back to the point we just talked about. It's a tool. Learn how to use the tool, and you can do all kinds of things with it. You can trail, you can, like I often tilt the device a little bit in the direction of the wall to feel the zigzags along the wall, because it's kind of, it feels a bit like magnetic repulsion, where you kind of feel it moving a little bit to the left and a little bit to the right, so you know that there's something along the wall, even though I'm like 3 feet away from the wall.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, we have another question from Svetlana. Nice to see you in the chat again, Svetlana. It says, what is the temperature range in Celsius in which Glide can operate?
Well, I think Svetlana is from Russia, if I remember correctly.
So hope you all have your winter jackets ready, because it goes on to say, will it survive at minus 30 degrees Celsius? We do have such temperatures in the winter.
What is that in Fahrenheit?
Well, yeah, that's a good question.
Let me use my phone here, and we'll find out the answer.
I think, isn't it somewhat?
It should be higher. Yeah, so minus 22.
Polar vortex level.
Jonathan adds polar vortex level. So yes, minus 22.
So we don't have actual real world testing yet. On the cold side, what I can say is the electronics are typically designed for the range of around 0 Fahrenheit, which Now, the beautiful thing about a device that works is that it heats itself up.
That's
There
true.
is thermals. The chip gets warm, the battery gets warm, everything gets nice and toasty inside the device. And so I actually think that we could probably go to temperatures below that as long as the device had a moment to warm up a bit. But like I said, I have not done those tests. So Svetlana, we're just gonna have to.
And Amos does not want to do those
No, I was going to
tests
say, my main question,
I'll
main
ask
question is...
Svetlana to do those.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, my question is, why is
have
anybody...
folks in Canada, though. We do have folks
there
in
you go.
Canada who can do tests for us.
Why
in these
would
temperatures.
anybody be outside when it is minus 30 going for a walk?
When
That's
you gotta
my question.
work, you gotta work.
It's gotta be
You gotta get to
beautiful.
work. You can't call in sick because it's cold out.
You can work from home. It's fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry. All right. Well, unfortunately, we're out of time here.
I have
Amos.
just one last real quick question, Amos, because I think people would be interested in this. I know that the device is not yet ready and not in production, but if anyone is interested in getting in touch with for testing purposes, or I think there was an early purchase program at one point.
I highly recommend for anybody who's interested to get onto our website, which Jonathan has already put out, and register. Name, first name, last name, email address. We do not spam, but what we do is engage.
Okay.
We send monthly newsletters with a lot of valuable information. We do regular Zoom calls that you can join and hear the updates. We have some really interesting announcements coming up in the next 6 weeks or so that people would want to listen into and take note of. And the engagement with the community is a cornerstone of this whole project. And I say that not just to say it. I mean, I get into trouble for how much I share, but it's worth the risk. Like, we've had people saying, like, bad vibes in the community. Oh, Glide is too noisy. It was noisy, I know, because we shared with you a prototype that was noisy, that was 3D printed, and the gears were making a lot of noise. But it was more important for me to get the feedback about the usefulness of the device. Is it designed in the right way? Are my assumptions correct? All the questions that people ask, every question is expression of need. And so important for us to have everybody involved. And by the way, the device is getting quieter.
Good.
As my engineer says, whisper silent.
And I think everybody appreciates that honesty. It's not easy developing a new product. Nothing ever goes on any timeline you ever expect it to. But I think the more that you are open and the more that you get feedback from your client base or your customer base, yes, it's going to take longer, but it will always be better at the end.
And honestly, I am personally super excited and confident with how things are coming together.
Wonderful.
Both on the hardware front, the software capabilities. I was very, very encouraged by all the positive feedback on the work on line maintenance. It sounds obvious, but until you put it in people's hands and see, even my team, my engineering team, did not believe that was such a critical aspect. They thought that leaving it to the user to deal with these things, and said, no, it has to maintain the line for the user, and it's so important.
It really is the foundation for what people want from a mobility tool. At the end of the day, I really, because it not only just but for crossing the streets to get it, whatever. It's such a huge piece of what you would expect from a tool.
And that's the feedback that we received since we let people start to try it out, and that's the only way is to do it out in the open with everyone.
All right,
Great.
well, let's wrap
Okay.
it there for now. Thank you very much for coming on. And again, if people want to go check out the website, it is glidance.io, and you can find a bunch of good things on there, including the FAQ, including some video resources and various other things about kind of pre-purchase and so on and so forth. So go check that out. It's a pleasure having you on again, Amos, and hopefully we can have you on next time when the product is actually released and it's out in the wild and people are able to buy it and try it. Yeah, so really looking forward to that. But for now, we will bid everybody goodbye. Any closing words, Cory?
No, thank you so much, Amos. We appreciate it. I'm excited for it. So thank you for coming on. For those, keep an eye out on our YouTube channel. Next week, Thursday, we'll have a new produced video dropping on the Hable Easy. So make sure you check that out. And our previous video was on a new portable video magnifier, the Coast Duo, that we also saw at CSUN 2025, and then got it and made a video of it. So just keep an eye on our channel. Every Thursday, something is going on.
It is. We'll be back live here in 2 weeks' time, so we look forward to seeing everybody then. And for now, we shall say goodbye.
Thanks all.
Bye, everyone. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye now.
Thanks for joining us for another Tech Connect Live. If you enjoyed Cory and Luke's antics, be sure to join us next time. For all things Tech Connect, go to vision-forward.org/techconnect.